One of the issues that I think Mayor Bredesen saw and many of us in social service see is that families who need our help, we often make it very difficult for them to receive that help, not only in terms of accessing those. I mean, we make them travel all over town to get the services that they need or to get signed up for those, but we also make them talk to a number of different people. We have to talk to one person if we need assistance with food, someone else if we need for housing. The one-stop shopping is an effort to bring together and consolidate all those services where a case manager can sit down with a family and help guide and plan for them an opportunity to get to everything they need without having to go all over town to do it. So as a resource in our center, we can provide access to that service. But we can also integrate that into what Martha O'Brien does. I think the opportunity to pull together programs and services so that we as professionals are molding the best support system for families is important. So as a resource, we can provide those within our building, and we coordinate with many agencies in bringing their professionalism and their expertise into the Martha O'Brien Center. As a community base, they want that access. We have families who need services, so we can provide those. And as I said, through counseling, we work with Family and Children's Services, Crittenton Services, Oasis Center. I mentioned that we are a Martha O'Brien Boys and Girls Club, so we work with the Boys and Girls Clubs of Middle Tennessee. Second Harvest, Nashville Read, Senior Citizens are a number of the agencies we work with in a private sector, but we're real pleased to also have that public partnership through the Metro departments.
Ms. Keller, the comprehensive family center, that whole idea and some of the things that you're doing, they're so enormous that you sort of hesitate even to raise questions in reference to some of these areas. I think you mentioned earlier about your corporate sponsors. Now, let's talk about that, and let's talk about it from the perspective of trying to create a situation, because I say that primarily because now we're dealing with a situation where we will almost immediately have to deal with welfare reform. I mean, that's one of the things that will be on the national agenda, and as a person involved in social welfare, you understand that. Let's talk about it from the corporate point of view. That is, what can private America do in order to help deal with some of the problems that we find in the welfare system?
Well, one is to become aware and informed and educated as to what those problems are. I think looking sometimes from the outside in, we make judgments as to the situations and the circumstances that families are facing. So education, I think, for the corporate community is real important. I think what Martha O'Brien Center does is it provides not only an opportunity for corporate citizens and entities to give back and help, but it also provides a service and a product that corporations and businesses need. Many of the companies we're working with, the first thing they mention to us is that a qualified, educated, prepared workforce is very difficult to sustain.
What are some of the corporate companies that you're working with? And I say that primarily because we want it known that companies that are making that kind of effort and making that kind of contribution, we want it known primarily because others might wish to do so, but they might be somewhat reluctant to become involved. And let's talk about it from that perspective. Call names. So
well, we have a number of companies who give financial support to the center, but those that are involved this year in our family education and job training program are four that we're working with for this calendar year is Opryland, Kroger, or Opryland Gaylord Entertainment, Kroger, Kelly Services, and Belmead Country Club. And these were businesses who became involved with Martha O'Brien, first to meet an initial need they had, which was to find individuals who wanted to work and had the skills to work and provide employment for them. We have individuals that Martha O'Brien works with that want to work. What they lack is someone that'll help teach them the skills they need and provide an opportunity for them to get started. I remember when I came out of school starting to work, everybody wanted experience. What experience do you have? I think these businesses are recognizing that we need to step forward and help prepare families for the workforce. And so they're working with us in a training program and providing some very detailed classes for adults so that they can be prepared to enter the workforce. But then they're also guaranteeing and providing opportunities for them to work part-time while they're in school, recognizing that the education and the preparation on the front end are real important to the success on the other end. And so part-time employment is what the families would be looking for initially, but then secondly, looking for full employment in an opportunity that provides upward mobility. One of the problems in working within the welfare system that you mentioned is that we create a lot of disincentives for families. There are many people who very much want to provide for themselves, except every time they begin to make steps forward, we begin to pull things out from under them. Financial subsidies are so significantly reduced sometimes when an individual begins to gain employment and receive income that it makes it not worth their while to continue in employment. And then of course you've got all the added stressors of someone with children going back to work, which is what do I do with them, how do I negotiate where I need to be, and then also provide for the child care services. So those are some of the things in preparing them for the workplace. We also try to prepare them to deal with just management issues of life, the life skills issues that will be involved in making it in the world of business, and this is what most of the individuals in the community are striving for.
Let's look at some of the funding and some of the funding challenges that you have, and certainly we know that as a community organization that you need as many dollars as you can possibly get. And let's talk about it from that perspective to allow our audience to perhaps assist you in some of your needs, and at the same time to make them aware of how you use the money that you receive, because I think that many people might be willing to give, at least they might use that as an excuse because they're not certain about how the money will be used from that perspective. Let's talk about it from that perspective.
Challenges right now Martha O'Brien faces two. One, it's to maintain funding to support the programs we're involved in, and as you said, that is a major issue. The families that we work with can only provide a partial amount of the cost involved in services. And the most expensive service that Martha O'Brien provides is the services for the children. Providing full-day child care for children from the age of 6 weeks up through 12 or 13 years of age is very expensive, but it is the major obstacle for families who want to go back to school or want to work. They need a place where they can place their children where they feel comfortable about it. The other, so that's one challenge, is meeting the operating needs. Now,
how do they pay for this? I mean, is all of this basically free child service, or is there a sliding scale? Explain that from that perspective.
The services are on a sliding scale, and families pay based on their ability to pay. Some families qualify for government assistance for child care, and that money is paid to Martha O'Brien Center or any service provider to help offset the cost. Most of the assistance and the sliding scale fee that the parent will pay only covers probably about half of what the costs are for providing the service. The remainder of the funds to support the program comes from private donations. Individuals, corporations, and as I said, many companies give to the center financially, foundations, and special events that the center sponsor each year to raise money for our programs. Our budget currently is about $1.5 million, a little short of that. And about half of that we raise in private funding each year. So we rely significantly on the generosity of the community to want to be a part of helping others. And those monies are put to what we think very good use and very efficient use with the programs that we provide. The other challenge that we're facing right now is lack of space to provide the comprehensive services. Some of the programs we began this year new is an expanded education program, and the job training program I mentioned we're having to do at an off-site satellite. And we're also having to do our infant and toddler care at the off-site satellite. Our goal is to be able to expand our building at South 7th Street in Casey to be able to accommodate those programs back in the community. It's really important that those services be in the community and not be bussed out of the community, because that's where change happens in the community. So we have a $2 million capital campaign going on right now, raising monies to be able to expand our services. Earl Swinson and Associates, a very well-respected local architect, is working with us.